Trade Genius.
What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. Hope you had a great weekend. All right, gonna keep it short and sweet. Gonna dive into Bitcoin here. Nice relief rally. We're getting it, a lot of it in just one bar here today, right? So we've gone from about 8,500 and currently we're up at 89.33. I think this is going to hit this daily moving average, this weighted moving average 20. So targets on this relief rally, 9,200. Because we're tethered kind of to what the S&P 500 is doing, and again, I think that's largely driven by stock exposure via GBTC. So the people hedging their portfolios in the stock realm affecting spot price. So these correlations come and go. If you over the long haul, you would determine that it's non-correlated. However, do recognize when things do hold hands. In this case, we're doing that. So all of the stock market mechanics, I think, are going to flow over into the Bitcoin price moves. And it's a little complicated because we're heading into halving, right? So the halving dynamics are also in play. But I think that when you have a fund like GBTC that controls 2% of the circulating supply, you have to respect that. So I think right now relief rally to 9,200, and I think the bears start to come in there. Also keep in mind, we had a hard break of the RSI 50 line. And when you do that, a lot of times that will act as resistance. So I think this area is going to be like this area. You come up, test that WMA 20 area, and then see some sell resistance. May even see a lower low here. This node, looking to have this node hold. If it doesn't, you can get into this low volume area, and then you could breach and get down to 7,700. And that's going to be the risk to the downside. If the markets really accelerate to the downside, that certainly is well within reason. So I would be looking to protect gains at this level from getting in at these lower levels on this last bottom. Taking a look at the internals, and this is one thing that I did not catch, and this was back on the 21st. We had a large drop in the Bitfinex shorts. This is a great indicator. I've covered it before in our videos. I just didn't see it, but when I was going back through the internals, I saw this here zooming out. And I'm not talking about when the BitMEX, shorts drop off, like just the gyrations that we see. Like here, I wouldn't count it. So when we have this large, like looking shelf pattern, and we've seen it before, and it's interesting because within about 48 hours, you start to see a sharp drop in the price of Bitcoin. And it seems counterintuitive, right? Because that indicates that shorts are closing, but it works, and it's worked, I would say, the last 3 or 4 times that it's happened without fail. So I didn't catch that, but understand this is a good thing to keep up. Doesn't happen very often, but it's good to reference the, at least every few days, reference the Bitfinex shorts indicator and see if you ever get that big drop that looks like a shelf or a cliff, because that's very bearish, even though it's counterintuitive. Looking at the internals, which is this here. Okay, so this is going to be, the green line is basically, what the funding rate is at BitMEX. If the funding rate jumps, generally that's a counter signal, and you would fade that jump in the move. What's interesting here, we had a jump here, and not so much of a pullback against that, a little bit, but not much. So it's interesting on this particular move that the bulls were actually right when they were getting long in here. So that's something to take note. I think part of that has to do with the fact that the halving is coming closer. So you've got people that are positioning to get long the pullback, but we also have this other weight on us from the S&P 500 woes, right? The market woes. And it's not just Corona. I think there is also an underlying, some sort of derivative that's blown up, and they're trying to keep it under wrap, but it's not good under the hood. So looking at our Delta chart, this is the one thing that has me not real bullish here, is because the Delta isn't perking up. So this would indicate they're buying up the near-term futures, and I don't see it. Okay, so this not turning nice and blue here leads me to believe that we tagged that daily moving average. There's no reason for that thing to roll over, because I'm just not seeing any follow through on the near-term futures. Look at GBTC again. Bounce was pretty expected here from these low premium readings, and I think the S&P 500 probably has some legs to go. I think we can see 31.15 to 31.20 in the S&P 500, which would if we If we don't get there overnight, we might see that in the morning tomorrow at some time. That's probably a good place to exit. And then, because I think there's still a lot of risk to the downside. I do not think that this is one and done down here on this pullback. Yes, there is an interest rate on the table. What they want, 50 basis points, which is a big cut. Right? Shouldn't be doing that at this point. But the Federal Reserve policy is failing, and they shot their bazooka 10 years ago at bottom a decade of price increases. Now we enter the out of ammo phase, which is going to be extremely bullish for Bitcoin going forward from here on out, especially with a reduced inflation rate because of the halving. So the last thing I'm going to leave you guys with is the gap chart, and I don't like this technical here. I think that can lead to a snapback down. The stochastics rolled over here, or the stochastic RSI rolls over. If I could find you an example, similar like this here, this formation here. And you can see that was a nasty move follow through. So this is why I'm, I want to be a little bit conservative here on capturing this relief rally gain. Okay, now as far as gaps go, I'm stoked because any excuse for a gap lower that needs to be tagged is now taken care of. So this goes away. That's been cleaned up. And that's no longer a thing. So that's pretty much it. Also 9,200, you'll notice these half gap levels that are very reactive is also up here at 9,200. So there's reason to take profit if we see a move up here. Now, what if we blow through that level? Then I would assume the S&P 500 has more upside to go. But still, I think that once the S&P 500 rolls over, I think we're going to see Bitcoin follow suit just because it's a risk-off liquidation type environment. Once things liquidate, they got to sell everything. That's why gold initially will come down in these crashes, but then bottom first and go up. All right, so that's where we're at this week. I like the bounce up. I like the relief rally up. It was what we expected. I think 9,200 is very likely at this point, and then we'll see what happens there. So there's your update for Bitcoin so far this week. I hope you guys have a great trading week. Hope to see you in the room. Head over to Trade Like a Genius or tradegenius.co. We had another nice winning trade in the US 500 today, which is the S&P 500 equivalent for binary options. Again, that thing up or down, giving us some nice safe levels to take. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Please hit like and subscribe. I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.